Are manufacturers putting too much modern technology in today's ATV and side-by-sides? Well, let's talk. So a couple weeks ago I posted the question on my Facebook page and asked if you thought that manufacturers are putting way too much technology in today's modern ATVs and side-by-sides. And I'm going to share what you guys' thoughts are as well as my own thoughts on the matter. So to start us off, Joe K says, I like the FI, but where they're going with these transmissions, they're getting way too complex. I say keep it simple so the average Joe can work on the darn things. And Joe makes a good point here. Now a lot of people like their technology. They like the advantages it gives them. They like the convenience it gives them. But now, as Joe pointed out, the more advanced things are, the more complicated they are, the harder it is for the average Joe to work on it. Now, is this a ploy by the manufacturers to ensure that you have to take it to a dealer and pay top dollar to get things replaced? Well, that's possible, yes. But there is also another point to that, which Spencer J brings out here in his comment. And he says the thing is, the well-to-do are the people buying these machines now, and that's where the market is trending. Same as autos. Sucks, but that's the way it is. They want the bells and whistles and can afford to take them in to get them worked on. And see, there's a very good point. You know, we can be quick to blame the manufacturers for wanting to eliminate the average Joe from being able to work on stuff. But as Spencer pointed out, the manufacturers are going to put in the ATVs and side-by-sides as people's wanting to buy. And the fact that the industry has gotten so expensive, the people that has the money to buy those machines with all the techno-gads in them are the people that want the techno-gads. And of course, that's going to mean that the more expensive machines are going to sell, the manufacturers are going to make a lot more money off of them, so they're going to continue to not only put in modern tech, but continue to put more and more advanced technology in ATVs and side-by-sides, because that's what the people that can afford the machines want in them. Now Bob K states, no, the modern technology is what makes today's side-by-sides what they are. There's no way you can get the power, reliability, and longevity with old tech. That being said, the cat of the 500 is kind of a dumb idea, and he's talking about the Pioneer 500. And Bob points out here that today's modern ATV and UTV industry is what it is because of the advancements in technologies, and then that advancement being put into the machines. So that gives you something to think about. If it was not for the modern technology manufacturers are putting in, then you know, we still might be clear back in the old 660 Rhino days with carbureted engines and awful suspension. And if that were the case, you got to wonder if the side-by-side market would have taken off like it has over the past couple years. You know, you can attribute the popularity of the side-by-side market to the fact that the more advanced technology is being implemented into the machines. But it is safe to say that with the more technology comes more electronic components, and as David C says here, on his opinion, he says yes and no. He says too much tech can be ruined by dust, mud, and water, but it all seems to come in handy at one time or another. And see, there's another question you have to ask yourself, and while I'm talking, I just missed my trail. Probably shouldn't be reading and driving at the same time. Beep, beep, beep. right, back on trail. You know, with more electronic components does come more risk of stuff getting wet, stuff malfunctioning, and with that increases the risk of you being stranded out on the trail somewhere. So it is safe to say that as manufacturers up the ante as far as electronics and technology, they're also going to have to make sure that they up the ante as far as protecting those electronic components and keeping them from getting too much water into them. Here has an interesting take on it as well. He says that pushing more and more power and speed along with the ability to handle that power and speed right out of the box is going to end up being like the three-wheeler fiasco at the end of the 80s. And what he's talking about there is a big controversy and a big lawsuit claim and stuff about three-wheelers and their chance of rolling over. We had the same thing happen in the early 2000s with them rhinos and people not knowing how to drive them correctly and rolling them, and then of course getting mad at Yamaha and suing the companies and stuff.
You alright? You okay? You alright? Are you alright? Oh my.
So as technology advances, as ATVs and UTVs get more and more powerful, suspension technologies advance enough so they can handle that power, are we then heading for our own demise of the industry by taking advantage of all that? Well, that's one of them questions that only time's going to tell. Is something like that going to happen again? Well, possibly, but then again, along with the advanced technology that enables us to push machines farther and farther, the technology that enables the machines to handle that safely goes right along there with it. Now, I have mixed feelings personally on this, and I agree with pretty much all these comments, because you do have to kind of look at this from two different sides of the same coin. Yes, technology is great because what it enables machines to be nowadays, but there is that little bit of a factor where, yeah, it's going to eliminate the average Joe from working on this stuff as it gets more and more complex. One thing I'm interested to see is that in a couple weeks I'm heading to a side-by-side demo at the Laurel Highlands Jeep Fest, and they're going to have one of the new Polaris with the Polaris Ride Command system.
The Ride Command display is a technology hub. You can now control your phone, media, and GoPro connections and gauges all in one place.
Which on the surface you say, wow, that's just a great feature, but you have to question then, you know, the longevity of that. How is it going to hold up when the average consumer gets these machines out there, pushes them to their limits, gets them in the mud and the water? You know, that's something only time's going to be able to tell. So I want to know what you guys' thoughts are. You can comment below and let me know if you think manufacturers are putting too much modern tech in today's ATVs and side-by-sides. And now for next time, I want to ask you guys this question. If given the choice of only being able to buy a pure sport UTV or a pure utility ATV for the rest of your life, you couldn't switch back and forth, you had to pick one or the other, and you could not pick the middle ground, the sport use, so to speak. It had to be either pure sport or pure utility. Which would you guys buy? I will share your guys' thoughts as well as my own on the next Let's Talk. So until then, remember, keep on riding.